Good morning, good morning, good morning! Welcome back to Children's Church. I'm so glad to have you here with me. And all the month of October, we're just telling some stories. Today's story, I call it Dead Girl Walking, or Jesus raises Jairus' daughter from the dead. We're in the book of Luke. We're in chapter 8, verse 40. You've heard part of this story before when we were talking about healing. So you're going to hear part of it again. This story actually exists in 3 different books of the Bible, Matthew, Mark, and Luke. And they all tell it a little differently, but I'm reading from Luke today because I like the way he talks. When Jesus returned, the crowd welcomed him, for they were expecting him. Just then, a man named Jairus came. He was a leader of the synagogue, and he fell down at Jesus' feet and pleaded with him to come to his house, because he had an only daughter, about 12 years old, and she was at death's door. While he was going, the crowds were nearly crushing him, and a woman suffering from bleeding for 12 years, who had spent all she had on doctors but could not be healed, approached from behind and touched the tassel of his robe, and instantly her bleeding stopped. "Who touched me?" Jesus asked. When they all denied it, Peter said, "Master, the crowds are hemming against you and pressing against you." "Someone did touch me," Jesus said. "I know that power has gone out from me." When the woman saw she was discovered, she came forward trembling and fell down before him. In the presence of all the people, she declared the reason she had touched him and how she was instantly healed. "Daughter," he said, "your faith has made you well. Go in peace." While he was still speaking, someone came from the synagogue leader's house saying, "Your daughter is dead. Don't bother the teacher anymore." When Jesus heard it, he answered him, "Don't be afraid. Only believe, and she will be made well." After he came to the house, he let no one enter with him except Peter, John, James, and the child's father and mother. Everyone was crying and mourning, but he said, "Stop crying, for she is not dead but asleep." They started laughing at him because they knew she was dead. So he took her by the hand and called, "Child, get up!" Her spirit returned and she got up at once. Then he ordered her to be given something to eat. Her parents were astounded, but he instructed them to tell no one what had happened. Clearly, he did not instruct Luke. The fun part about the Gospels is we know they were written after Jesus' life, and sometimes not by people who were actually with him. Now, Luke was a disciple, so we know that he probably heard it from either Peter, James, or John. And it's a little funny to me that Jesus was like, "Don't tell anyone what happened to the family," and his disciples were like, "Well, he didn't tell us. We're going to write it down so that someone can read it over 2,000 years later on the internet," which is a thing they absolutely knew would exist, totally. Anyway, there is a point to my rambling, I promise. What Jesus was doing was A, protecting the young girl from a lot of scrutiny after he brought her back to life. But B, Jesus did good things not for the credit. He did good things because they were good things. He was very comfortable to quietly heal someone and leave. He didn't need man's praise. He didn't need any of that. Now we know anyway because it was a beautiful story of faith healing 2 people who everyone thought were beyond help. But Jesus didn't need credit. He didn't need a parade. He just wanted them to be well. That's what I want you guys to remember for this week. Have a wonderful, wonderful week, and I will see you next time, okay?